and welcome to All Things Conflict. And in this episode, I thought I'd do something different. So we've welcomed guests, we've talked a bit about conflict in the workplace, but I thought it would be really useful to show you how I would handle a difficult situation with an employee as their line manager, where it falls on me to explain to somebody that we need to correct their behaviour. Yeah, I'm hoping that you'll get some insight into a whole different way in which we can use language, how we can communicate with people so that we can get the best out of the situation. There are going to be difficult conversations. We are going to have to pull people up from time to time. How do we do this in such a way that there's clarity, understanding, and boundaries all held with compassion? Tina, hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for making time to come to this meeting.
Yeah, of course.
I'm guessing that you're wondering what this is all about.
Yeah, a little bit nervous.
Oh, okay, so I hear that you're a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think I'm just going to launch into this, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to beat about the bush.
Okay.
There's something I want to take up with you. You're probably going to feel a little bit anxious about it, but I'm literally trying to have a conversation to straighten something out with you.
Okay.
And I wonder if that's okay.
That's absolutely fine, yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of come to my attention, and I have noticed as well, that kind of come Monday mornings, you come into work, and you spend quite a lot of time at other people's desks, and I think one or two people are saying, you know, that they're not comfortable with it, and I don't know what the contents of the conversations are, but I could take a pretty good guess, and you know, word goes around places, so there's something about not being at your desk, the kinds of conversations that you're having that may be creating some discomfort. And I just wanted to kind of just bring it out into the open and talk about it with you.
Okay, yeah, sure. I mean, well, I'm a bit shocked because I've never had this brought up to me before. I've never thought I was making anybody uncomfortable. I thought everybody was enjoying the conversations that we were having in the morning or going to speak to people at the desk. I mean, obviously we do spend a lot of time together. I feel like we're like a really close work family, so I thought I had that sort of relationship with people. But yeah, I mean, how am I making people feel uncomfortable?
Okay, thank you. So this has kind of rather shocked you a little bit, if
Yeah.
I've understood, that you felt you had a closer working relationship, and I think I heard you say like a sort of workplace family.
Yeah.
And you're kind of interested in what's making people uncomfortable. Would that be fair
absolutely.
to say?
I would never want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, ever. I thought I was just being friendly, really, and talking about like the weekend. But I mean, if that's interfering with people and they don't like that, I'm just concerned that they wouldn't just come to me and tell me that.
Yeah, so it's kind of upsetting, isn't it, when you know, when you know you're getting this from me, and what I'm hearing is you'd rather people would have come to you directly and said something.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not like a dragon. I mean, if I'm upsetting someone, they could have just told me to, you know, politely leave them alone, or they could have just come and spoken to me privately and said, I don't like what you're talking about, or something like that. So the fact that it's gone straight to you is a little bit sad and upsetting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I noticed there are two things going on in me, and one is I want to talk about why people might not necessarily come directly to you, and then I think I want to talk about what I've noticed, and I think I might start with what I've noticed. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Thank you. So what I can say for certain is, you know, I sit in my office, you're in the open plan work thing, and then I often walk across to get myself a coffee or to ask somebody for something. And very often, I think I could probably tell you on at least 4 or 5 occasions this week, I've seen you either talking to people in the little coffee area or standing at somebody's desk while they're sitting. So, so I would like to address that with you, because it is a workplace, and the times that you're doing that, obviously no work's getting done.
Right.
So I'd like to address that with you. And then we could talk about, you know, why would somebody not just come direct to you? I think it's difficult. I think people are embarrassed. I think it's hard to confront people with stuff, because you don't know what kind of response you're going to get. And
Yeah.
also, you know, maybe I don't know, but maybe others have engaged in it or something. I don't really know. I don't know the content. But what I can tell you is, you know, we do need to talk about doing something different. So what happens to you when you hear me say this?
Yeah, I guess I feel a little bit like I didn't realise I was doing it so much. I thought that everybody seemed to be engaging in these sort of conversations with me and wanted to be in those conversations, so I didn't realise that I was interfering in people's work time or even my own work time. Maybe, yeah, I guess maybe I haven't been as focused as I should be on the work during the day, and I have been feeling like maybe I've gotten into a bad habit of doing things, sure, but I feel like I get back as much interest as I feel like other people are doing this as well. So I don't know why it's just me that's being pulled aside, I guess, because I feel like other people are also doing it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so what I've heard you say is that actually other people are doing it and other people are engaging in it.
Yeah.
And now you're wondering whether you've kind of been singled out or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely feeling a little bit like that, yeah.
Okay, so I guess what I'd like you to hear is that, you know, I may be having conversations with other people about this, and that's not something I'm going to do in front of you or
Right.
tell you about. So you wouldn't really know if I've got meetings with other people to discuss this as a sort of team-wide issue.
Yeah.
And if it is a team-wide issue, then I'll probably bring it up at a team thing. So what I want to do is just concentrate on you, your progression, your workload, and how you're managing your day-to-day. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, continue.
So I'm just interested in, you know, what you're getting from what I'm saying to you, what changes you think you could implement, how, you know, you think we could do this differently. Yeah.
I mean, would you like me to just like, in general, just stop talking to people, just like sit more quietly at my desk? I mean, I really enjoy my conversations with everyone. I mean, I like that little part of the day that I get to speak to people and build those connections and friendships and things. But I guess what I'm hearing is maybe I need to tone that down a little bit and be a little bit more focused on the work. And
yeah, so look, you know, when we took you on, we knew, you know, you do sort of, you know, you bring a bit of sunshine in the room with you, and but there's kind of limits, I suppose.
Okay.
So when I hear you say, "Oh, shall I just stop talking to people?" I think that would be a very stark contrast. I think it might be useful if I explain some of the sort of grey area of this. Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I think the grey area for me is, firstly, if you're all going down the pub after work, which I know you all do, right, then that's fine. But then what you're doing is you're regurgitating things that have been said or things that have happened. It's outside work, but, you know, people do things, none of my business, you know, I don't want to know, until they kind of cross over to the workplace. But what happens is people get scared that their reputations are being damaged.
Right, yeah.
So that's probably something that's going on. A second thing is you could be damaging your own reputation, because often when we say things, others may join in, but you don't know what it is they're telling themselves about that.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd be worried about your own reputation, and then if you're damaging your own reputation or other people perceive that you're damaging theirs, then of course that has implications in things like progression and promotions and how we move forward together. And I'm guessing that these have never really occurred to you.
No, I mean, I guess I just thought that it was a little bit of light-hearted sort of gossipy banter. I've never, maliciously went out of my way to try and talk nasty about people or spread rumours, and nothing I ever say is a lie. I guess I just thought it was like, well, everybody, it's quite normal to have sort of casual office gossip and banter. I never thought it would be me trying to pull people down, and I definitely didn't want to think about how it would make me look by talking about these things all the time. I guess sometimes you just feel like people are only interested in talking about those things. That still isn't making up for it, but a lot. I hear what you're saying. Sometimes I feel like if you don't want people to talk about you, you shouldn't behave in certain ways in front of your colleagues. But then that doesn't make it right for me to talk about it.
Okay, so I've heard you say a couple of things actually. I've heard you say that what's really important to you is that I hear that you're not intending anything malicious or unpleasant, and that it's just from your point of view it was very light-hearted. And then on the other hand, I've heard you say, well, if people behave in certain ways,
yeah, I know.
like they're responsible for their own behaviour.
Yeah.
And then I heard you say that you never really thought about how it might sort of impact, all of you really, around things like promotion and how you're viewed and your appraisal.
Yeah, absolutely. Never thought about that.
And so that's an interesting concept, because I suppose when I hear you say, well, people do stuff, right, and they behave in certain ways, then don't do it. Then when we talk about it, I think there's a word that I'd really like you to take away with you and think about, and that's discretion. So what happens to you when I use the word discretion? We've all got powers of discretion.
Yeah. I guess it's about thinking about others and their feelings before just going and talking about these things. And I would, if something happened and I did something silly, I guess I wouldn't want people to just go around spreading it. You'd want people to have your best interests at heart, I guess, is what I'm hearing, which I maybe haven't done.
Okay, so the meeting's been relatively easy, I think, for us, because I'm really hearing that there's things you haven't thought of, things you'd like to give more consideration to. So I think what I'm going to suggest is that, you take this away. I don't really want to think about it again. And maybe what we'll do is we'll just see how things are going in sort of 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Follow up.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so what we saw there was that very first conversation. And in that first conversation, we always need to give somebody an opportunity to rectify and to correct the behaviours that are causing an issue. And now what we're going to see is the meeting 2 weeks later when the behaviour hasn't improved.
Tina.
Maria.
It's 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And we said we'd, just see how things are going.
Yeah.
And I notice I'm feeling a bit awkward about this, because I honestly felt that conversation we had was really gentle, and that I really felt you'd taken it away. But, yesterday you were at Teresa's desk. The day before you were in a little huddle with people over at the tea making. The day before that, when I came in, you were giggling and shrieking with Robert and I don't know the other lady's name. So I'm not quite sure where to go, because clearly the change I was hoping and that we were both hoping just hasn't happened. So now I kind of have to sort of pull you up on it.
Right. Well, I just I mean, I feel like all those people that I've been, like you say, doing all these things with have invited me into those conversations, and I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, just ignore people or walk away. I've been finding it really difficult because I feel like I can't be myself. That I am a bubbly person, I love being chatty, and I just feel like, what am I supposed to do if somebody pulls me to talk to me and wants to chat about something? I mean, like you say, I was in a huddle. What about all those other people? Am I just supposed to exclude myself from social situations?
Okay, so I've heard you say a couple of things. So the first thing is that, you know, what you really want me to hear is you did try, but that what you've noticed is that they're pulling you into conversations. And am I saying that if people are in a little group, you should exclude yourself from all those conversations?
Yeah, that's how I feel, and I feel like, I'm not really sure how to navigate this anymore, because I feel like I'm trying to behave better, but I'm feeling like I'm trying to exclude myself, and then I feel like I'm being watched a little bit, like my behaviour's being watched more so than other people. So I feel, a little bit like I'm not sure what to do.
Okay, so what I've heard you say is that you're worried that you're sort of being watched now.
Yeah.
I think the word I would use is you want to be really clear that what's happening here is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want it to be fair too. So I suppose I could look at this and, I mean, I could clearly tell you what I would like you to do. I mean, we can go over that and what would be better. As I said to you, you know, I'm obviously not going to say I'm also having meetings with this one and this one, just like I'm not telling people I'm having meetings with you. I might raise in our team, our monthly team talks, I might raise something for everyone. We're not naming anyone in particular. I'm probably intending to do that. And yet there's still something about the way that you're navigating the workplace and the way that you're, you know, paying attention or not paying attention to your workload.
Right.
So what happens to you when you hear me say that?
I mean, I think it would be fair if everybody was told that about these sort of things, so I don't feel like I'm being singled out all the time. I understand you're obviously having maybe private conversations with people, I don't know. But I mean, I feel like a lot of the time people come to me with their personal issues or conversations that are not work related, and I get sucked into those conversations, and then I obviously, you know, will share things with people about my personal life, and then it feels like that gets spread like wildfire. And I just feel like, like I'm taking the blame, I think. I feel like maybe, like I said last time I spoke to you, feeling a little bit like, I don't know how to say this, but feeling a little bit like maybe a bit unmotivated in the role, and maybe that, like I said, that's made me lose a bit of focus and has sort of distracted me, and I'm just feeling like I'm not sure how I feel about the role in general at the moment. And so maybe my mind is not in the right place.
Okay, so I've heard you say something new now. I've heard you say that you're struggling with the role in any case. And your mind's all over the place with it, and so that may be to do with the workload and whether you're sort of meeting your deadlines or not. So that's something that we actually could look at separately, and I'd be happy to do that. Be happy to look at what the role entails, how you're managing it, what we can do to support you. I'd be more than happy to do that in a separate meeting.
Okay.
I suppose if I were to be a bit more kind of blunt about it, I think I need to know that you come in, you go to your desk, you log on, you do the workload in front of you, and I get that it's hard because a sort of course of dealing has been set up and you can't just now suddenly start ignoring people. But I do feel there are things you could do and there are things you could say. Is that something you'd be interested in hearing?
Yeah.
So there are things you could say off the top of my head. I think if I were being pulled into a conversation, I think I would say, hey, look, this is really fun, but I'm struggling to get all my work done at the moment. I've got kind of higher than normal workload, so please don't read anything into it, but I really just want to get on with my work. So could you imagine yourself saying something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, would that be fair? Would it be honest?
I feel like that would be fair. It would be honest. I don't know why people couldn't just say that to me either. If people were engaging in conversations with me and they needed to go and do work that way, I don't know why that people couldn't say that to me as well. That doesn't seem like a difficult thing to say.
So again, I'm really not focusing on anyone else. I'm just focusing on you, what you can do, how you can kind of turn the corner on this.
Okay.
So other things that you might say, I mean, I can't stop you having a conversation, right? I mean, you know, you can have any conversation you want once you've met people, but I can talk about doing it on our business's time. So those conversations, maybe you need to be able to say to people, you know, I can talk to you at lunchtime or I'll talk to you after work, but I actually can't do this in the workplace right now. It's actually affecting my ability to get the work done.
Okay.
And again, you can say to people, look, I'm really sorry. Please don't be offended by this. I know I'm normally good for this, but I just need to have a period of concentration.
Okay. Yeah, I can try to work on those sort of things. I just don't want to exclude myself from being able to be part of those, you know, nice conversations with people, and yeah, I just don't want to get excluded, I guess.
That's an interesting thing to say, because obviously you don't want to be excluded, and at the same time they're not appropriate conversations to be had in work time. And if anyone else is doing it, then it's my job to make sure and to take care and to clean this whole thing up.
Okay.
And nothing's going to happen overnight, but we did have a conversation 2 weeks ago, and I haven't really seen much change.
Okay.
So I'd love to ask you two things. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So the first one is, what are you actually taking away from this conversation?
I feel like I will try to be more self-aware about my behaviour, be more aware of how much I am interacting with other people on topics that are not work-related, and try to maybe minimise the amount of time I spend doing those things, even if it's not just me. And yeah, I think if I be more self-aware, be more willing to just turn the conversation down and tone it down within myself, and be able to recognise that maybe I'm also being an instigator.
Thank you. Yes, I kind of enjoyed hearing that. So my second question, I think, is, and how will you monitor yourself? Because it's one thing having this conversation now and then going away, but you have to have some kind of internal mechanism.
Yeah, that's a tough one to self-monitor. It's clearly a tough one for me, because clearly I've not made much difference these last 2 weeks, and I've thought I've been trying. So I guess trying to maybe monitor the amount of time I sit at my desk and the amount of time I'm allowed to get up to go to the coffee machine. I don't know. how I can monitor those sort of things. Maybe, yeah, just trying to minimise the amount of time I'm not at my desk.
Yeah, I think shouldn't be too difficult a thing to kind of notice in yourself, because sometimes we get impulses, to get up and move around, and I'm asking you to be aware of those impulses and perhaps not act on them.
Okay.
And then I suppose I have one other question, which is probably has a little bit of tension in it, but I do think I need to ask you.
Right.
If in 2 weeks' time I'm having the same conversation, what conversation do you think I'll be having with you?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a good one. It would probably be something like a disciplinary or something like that. I don't know if it's at that level yet. I mean...
Well, I definitely don't want to go there. And yet, at the end of the day, I've got a whole floor to manage. And, part of my role is upholding certain sort of protocols within the business. So, I think it's just important that you're aware that we spoke about it, we're speaking about it again. I don't really want to do this again. I feel that there's a sense of responsibility taking that I want to give to you, that's your responsibility for how you behave. And if I can support you, but I can't do it for you. If I can support you, if you notice something and you want to give me a quick email or whatever, I'm really happy to support you, but I can't do this or take that responsibility from you.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. And I will really try to work hard at making sure that I'm staying focused and not getting carried away in these conversations, and try to just be more self-aware.
Thank you. So before we close up, I just want to know, how are you leaving this conversation? I mean, obviously I've had to do something that's difficult, but I just want to check how you're leaving this.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel a little bit worried about who I am getting in the way of my work, and I don't want anything bad to happen, and I certainly don't want us to go down that route. So I guess I'm just a little bit worried, but we'll be try to really work hard at it. Yeah.
Great. And what we'll do is we'll schedule in the time to talk about the actual role as well.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I hope that those two examples were insightful into a different way that we can carry the conversation forward, that we can embrace, the fact that working with people is messy, things are going to go wrong, and these are ways in which we can keep it adult.